All right, and welcome back, everybody, to another Megatron Draws. And today we're going to be doing another pencil and ink stream because, well, Jet kind of wanted another one after last weekend stream. But today I'm going to be working something a little bit different. I had a few other things in mind for this stream, but but for some reason I was in the mood to draw some Solus Prime, one of the original 13 primes. So I thought that'd be a really cool sort of thing to do. Now I did do a pencil sketch of Solus Prime a couple of years ago, and that would be this one right here. But I wasn't really. It seems a little bit outdated. I like the pose, but I might have to. But I'm thinking about maybe redoing this one, maybe on a bigger sheet of paper. So it has potential. I just feel like I could do a bit more with it. But then I started doing this drawing here this morning, so I was like, what, this kind of works for me. I wanted to do more of a close up of her today. So, and I see Grumpy in the chat. Good to see you. Random fun time. Exactly. So, and the reason why I picked Solus Prime actually is more so because there's kind of some rumors going around the toy, at least the toy realm when it comes to Transformers, that once the Legacy toy line runs out, they're going to be doing the 13 primes. Like there's gonna be a whole toy line where they're gonna have all the 13 primes being made. At least that's what's rumored, and so that would be really, really cool if that is the case. I'd really like to see that. It'd probably be and I don't really collect the main line as much. Although I am thinking about actually going in on a couple things when it comes to the mainline stuff. And I see, dude, I finally got past my madness with Comics Division meme. Been drawing for 2 years old, and it was enough to get past the hump. And oh yeah, nice, dude, nice, yeah. All right, just trying to figure out the shape of the helmet of her right here, but yeah, so that's one thing I might be actually going in on at some point is actually collecting something because I really want to get some of the origin, like because there's a couple of figures out there that are kind of like within like the origin story of Transformers. Like they have the IBW minor Megatron out there, as well as like the War Dawn stuff with like Ariel and Dion, as well as that Orion Pax and Alpha Trion 2-pack. I was like, you know what? If I was to reconfigure my collection room, my display room, I might be able to actually fit that in and make an actual diorama for both of those eras of Transformers lore right behind me. So and I have a few ideas as to how I'll go about that, which I might talk about a little bit here. So I need those primes. I need your art more. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be really, but that's a really cool thing I want to see. I have a few ideas in mind how I'm going to go about doing that. It's going to require a lot more furniture, though, new furniture. But I think that'd be a really cool thing to do because with the origin figures, like with the Orion Pax and all that, like I could do a whole like Golden Age Cybertron sort of diorama, like have Cybertron before the war started. That'd be a really cool. Make for a really cool diorama, as well as then maybe do like maybe like Vector Sigma or something like that, or the Well of All Sparks for when I do, if I were to do the 13 primes and stuff like that. So yeah, I have a lot of ideas kind of percolating in my mind with this little bit of rumors, news, what have you. Hopefully it's true, and hopefully they aren't shitty figures. But the figures they made for the female prime over at my Mastermind Creations is too much dollars. They get Mastermind Creations go really get crazy up in value. Same thing with Fans Toys. And then Minnesota is $450, 5 big figures. Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of the Fans Toys Stunticons, I actually have the breakdown now. So, and I have the Wild Rider on order. It's on its way now. And then I have, I put my deposit in for the Dead End on the Shozy store. So, yeah, trying to get those guys rounded out as much as before they go up in value, before they all go all crazy up in value. So, but yeah. just trying to just kind of define my lines here a bit more. Figure out what I want to do with it. Now I went for more of her Power of the Primes design she had in that cartoon because I feel like that's more aligned with what I would like to see her designed as. So I saw some other sort of crazier sort of designs for it. I kind of like this one more. It's more defined. It's more G1 inspired, or it feels like it would exist in the G1 world. So that's what I'm going with for her design here. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and erase some junk. Not too much. Just kind of clean up the drawing, and then we'll kind of go in and kind of define some of the lines and the little details on her. But and I have a few other characters on order. Oh, the Scourge that I pre-ordered like a couple months ago is actually finally being shipped out to me. So Scourge is on the way. I have a Sea Spray on the way, and I have an Acid Storm on the way. So been spoiling myself a little bit lately because I've been getting more hours. So I'm gonna buy stuff with it. Yeah, I'm gonna change up the chest. It's a little weird looking here. And the way I draw female Transformers is very similar to how I just draw a normal like female character. Like I draw the same because they're very, very simple. Because like female Transformers are very different from the male Transformers. They have more curves. They have more feminine sort of proportions. And so they're not going to be because the male Transformers, they're usually a lot more blocky, at least if you're going by the G1 designs and all that. And so, but for the female Transformers, they're a bit more streamlined, a bit more feminine. And so I always when I draw the female Transformers, I always go for more of the I just kind of start off with a basic sort of female build, and then I just kind of work off of that. And, hey, Deadman, how's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, they look like chicks. So with robot parts, that's kind of like the whole gist of it. Just trying to find the middle here. The shoulder right there, shoulder sockets. And I decided if I want to have the hand up here, maybe. Oh man, I can have her holding like the vector sigma key. Get vector sigma, yeah. Hold on, I gotta get a reference for that then. Yeah, I think I have her like holding like the key to vector sigma, just kind of have her, or not really holding it, but using like kind of like the force a little bit, like kind of like how she's kind of like levitating it or something like that. Yeah, the prime, they're supposed to be like really, really powerful like individuals, really, because they're the first of the ones that Primus created. So they have a bit more extra powers than someone like Optimus, who doesn't really have anyone to kind of teach him how to be a prime or all these other powers that the primes had. So. Okay. This arm is way too big. Okay, so it's kind of a bit the angle right. It's kind of oval shape up here, and then it kind of yeah. Let's do that. Trying the arm socket drawn in. It's kind of like a ball, and then it kind of has like a little shoulder pad kind of attached to it. But a little bit of lore. I don't know too much about Solus Prime, but the basics of her is that she's the first female transformer in the universe, and she was basically the blacksmith of the Prime. She was the one that kind of created all their weapons and stuff like that in order to defeat Unicron, and at least in the aligned continuity of the story. I think that she had the same sort of story in IDW. Didn't really follow the IDW stuff too much. But in the line continuity, that was kind of like her story, was that she was kind of like and she had a little bit of a kind of fling with the Fallen, aka Megatronus Prime, and then that kind of led to them. I think that ended up, yeah. So she got killed by Megatronus, and that kind of had him get he was like banished from Cybertron or something like that. I think that's kind of how it went. I'm trying to remember because there's so many different versions of Megatron, the Fallen storyline and the lore. Because I think in Dreamwave Comics he went and joined up with Unicron and all that. So there's a little bit of a kind of a difference when it comes to the different continuities and all there. So I like Solus. I don't like IDW. I do like Dreamwave. Yeah. Dreamwave had a really cool design from the Fallen though. Like he had a really sick design. It's easily the best design he's ever had. Other designs look kind of stupid to me. It's like, it actually feels like it was, and that's why I like, and what I liked about it is it actually felt like something that would be in the G1 cartoon. That's why I feel like that's why I kind of prefer this design as well, because that's how I want them to design these characters in the future, is make them look like they were actually part of the G1 world, as opposed to just trying to do, your own style of it. I think it's more interesting to see, like, what would, say, like Bulkhead look like in G1 form, or Knockhead, or what have you. And that's what I liked about this design in the Dreamwave comics. It looks like something you could possibly see in like a G1 cartoon, like a Lost episode or something like that. What I liked about the War for Cyber, or the Devastation games, actually, it felt like, because they incorporated a lot of the some of the more new age ideas for Transformers, but they did it in a way that it felt like it was a part of the original G1 world to begin with, like because that whole game was very much centered around Nova Prime, who was a much more recent sort of character. At least the way they kind of characterize him in the game is very much more inspired by his original form. Because I think he was just kind of like I don't think he had a real story in the original Marvel comics. I think that he just had a name. I think he was just named, and that was it. Because it wasn't until a little bit later on in the history that they actually kind of went ahead and developed a lot of these the original 13 primes and all that. So there's a lot of really cool stuff they could do. I'd really like to see them actually kind of explore the 13 primes a bit more, and like different lore, or different like shows and movies and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot you can really do with that. Okay, so our arm goes like that. Do a basic sort of design. And she was kind of like the focal point of the Prime Wars cartoon, or at least the final season of that series, because it was all about Megatron just trying to bring her back to life and all that. But doing so, it would kind of kill all the Transformers in the universe. So Megatron actually went and let the Autobots and all that into defeating the Fallen and all that. Understand that story better. I don't know enough about that. Yeah, there's different stories. There's different ways that kind of because with the nature of Transformers continuity is that it's like there's never really one definitive version of the story, because there's so many different. Just because the way the writers kind of are, is they, every continuity is a new continuity, so it's not going to be 100% the same way. When it comes to certain characters or certain elements of the lore, it's not going to be 100%. Static. There's always going to be something new added to the franchise, which has kind of been a good and bad thing over the years. It has led to some good ideas, but also some bad ideas. So it's kind of like a give or take sort of thing. It's kind of been a gift and a curse for the franchise over the years. And I will leave that for now. So it's the key to vector Signo. We're going to use this as sort of a reference. I have it at an angle a little bit. We'll start with that, and then we'll kind of that. Kind of going like that instead, like kind of. Or no. These are kind of the same. So I'll lower the arm just a little bit. I don't want to interfere with the actual key here. I'll add little details on top of that later. And okay. Let's see. Arm kind of goes like this, kind of has like more of a triangle sort of shape to it. Okay. What I like about her design, actually, in the Prime Wars cartoon, actually, is that she kind of has a little bit of the, little bit of an Alpha Trion influence in her. That's kind of how I would like to see, like, the Prime that she kind of portrayed, is having a bit more of the. Because I like it when they have a little bit of an echo of like Optimus Prime or Alpha Trion in their designs. I think that's kind of the way to go when it comes to drawing them out. Like if I was to do a whole series where I was drawing out all the different primes, that's kind of how I would kind of reimagine them. Is kind of having not like full on like the redesign, just Optimus Prime or Alpha Trion design cues, but just like little subtle like elements in the designs. Kind of, I think it helps kind of bridge the primes together, while also giving them their own unique sort of flair with it. But yes, all right. Yeah, I like the design of her character in the show. Sadly, the show was not that good, so it was just like I think it was the same people who made the Netflix series too, ones who made the Prime Wars cartoon from Machinima. So a lot of weird decisions they made, or not really weird decisions, but kind of weird decisions. But the problem was that they had a really, really slow pace. Like that was one of the problems I had with that whole show. Was it felt like it was like it took so fucking long for a whole story to progress. It was just like it was moving so slow. It's like stop. It's like, and they had some good ideas, cool concepts, but it's just like it takes forever to get to them. It's like. Not that the voice acting is bad, obviously, because they have really good voice actors, but not for the most part. There's some actors who weren't really the greatest, but I had the Netflix Transformers show. Yeah, that too. I liked it at first when I first watched it, but then the more I watched, the more I rewatched, the more I thought about it. I was like, no, this is bad. It's like. And there's some parts of it I do like, but it's just like I just don't like the like. I don't know. There's something about the voice acting, something about the obviously the characterization on Optimus Prime in that film, as well as like with Megatron. I think they made a mistake with Megatron's character. And just the overall story, I just didn't really get on board with. I felt like they made Megatron too noble in the series when he really shouldn't have been. At least not in this point in time. Like maybe in the future they could have like a redemption arc, but this is like way at the very like in the middle of the war for Cybertron. This should be like prime like Megatron, like at his peak of evilness and stuff like that. You know, like he shouldn't be on the path of redemption just yet, or if they are going that way, which you know it's kind of a tricky thing with Megatron's character, whether or not you should go that route with him at all. But if you are doing that route, it has to be later on. I feel like that's what Transformers Prime kind of understood, as well as the Prime Wars cartoon. Even was that they had, because the Prime Wars cartoon, it was like way after the war for Cybertron and all that, and that was kind of him, and he was like kind of exiled from Cybertron, and so. And from being exiled, he kind of found that he found some peace within himself, you know, and that's what's kind of led to his whole arc in the whole series. Now he's not like fully redeemed; he's not like 100% like altruistic necessarily in the show, but not until like the very, very end, where he kind of gives his life to save the rest of the Transformers. So, but I felt like it was earned in that. I don't think they really. I don't know, it's just not really. I don't really think that's really the way to go because this is supposed to be the end of the war for Cybertron as well. Like, I think here's the problem with the Netflix series. It tried to do so many things at once in so little time. That was the main issue because they only had like 6 episodes per season, and so the first season was the end of the war. Second season was the war in space before they get to Earth, and the final season was all on Earth. And it's just like it's all so much in so little time that you don't really. It's like I think they would have benefited from just like focusing on one era of the lore and just sticking with it. That way, you can actually develop the characters and develop the world a bit more. But it's just so many things I would have done differently. Let's put it that way. It was all wrong. They also didn't bring the voice that they have available. The story was way off. The one finally back was wrong. Yeah. They made the beginning juicy enough to earn more seasons. Yeah. I think I'm doing this wrong. Do that. Let's broaden the torso a bit more. Okay, fix that, I think. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot I had issues with the Netflix series that first came out. I mean, some of the voice acting was fine. Like, it wasn't all bad, but it's like a lot of the Autobots, like they all sounded the same. They had the same tone of voice, and they were all downers. They're all moping around. Like, when the War for Cybertron games, like, even though they were in both games, even though the Autobots were in a very like tough situation in both games, they were never downers in the sense of they were always just depressed 24/7. Like if you look at that Cliff Jumper and Jazz level, they're having fun. Like they're just like having a blast. Like even though this is like this is like the last like ditch effort to save their kind in that game because their whole storyline was about the Autobots getting off of Cybertron with the Ark, and the Ark is their last transport. And so it's a very, very dire situation they're in, but they still have time to actually have fun and laugh a little, enjoy themselves, not old Debbie Downers, It's like you need levity in the darkest circumstances. You need to have some levity, otherwise, what's the point? It's not done in the way like where it's like Marvel humor, you know, where it's like it's just like it's where there's humor in places that shouldn't be. Like that's why I kind of felt like with Marvel movies that there's humor in the wrong spots. Like they have humor when it should be a bit more serious, you know, or emotional or something like that. Like I mean, some of that is fine if you, but it's like when you have that constantly happening in the movies and stuff, it kind of lessens the impact of those kinds of scenes. But in moments where, but so you can have those moments. Uh, you can have those moments without ruining the story. I think, and I think it's what a lot of people don't really understand now. It's like they think that anything that's humorous is on it's automatically going to be MCU humor or something like that. I think there's a way to kind of balance out having like a sense of humor while also having like a seriousness to the story as well. And I think those games kind of did it really well, as well as the Transformers Prime TV show did it really well. Where they had a good sense of humor, but they also had, and they had fun, but also had, the moments where they needed to take it seriously. I think that's what a lot of films nowadays kind of struggle with, because they either go too dark or they go too light, and there's nothing really in between. There's no real balance of the two. That's what I kind of feel like. All right. Right now, I'm just using a red pencil to kind of help me define some of the line work, because obviously with the transformer design, you need to, it's very, very complicated sometimes. So you want to have, because once I go ahead and erase a lot of this gray, some of the red will kind of leave behind, and then that will kind of help me out with it'll just help me clean up the drawing a bit more as we go here. All right, we're going to go. Figure this one out. It's all bad, yeah. I mean, some of the voicing was fine. I didn't really have a problem with the Megatron or Prime voice, even though I think that Prime is a little bit overacting, but I think that he has a little bit of it's okay. He's okay. I don't think he's as horrible as some people make him out to be. Megatron's fine. Starscream was fine. Shockwave was okay. Wheeljack was pretty good. He did a decent job kind of replicating that original voice while just also doing something different. But yeah, overall, there's a lot. The rest of them all kind of just like sound the same to me. Like, when it came down to the original cartoon, it's like everyone sounded different. Everyone had a unique sort of voice. Not everyone sounded the same. They all had their own sort of character and their own voice. And I feel like that's kind of missing in that show, Netflix series. So. I think it goes like something like that. It's kind of like a skirt on the front of her. It's kind of like almost like a tribal sort of skirt, which is kind of what I'm thinking about when it comes to this kind of character who's a bit more ancient. Kind of like the Hippolyta or the Transformers there. I think she's a little more thin build there. It's hard to see. We'll just kind of make up some lines here then. The reference I have doesn't really show a whole lot in that area because it's blocked off by our hand. And this right here is the Forge of Souls Prime. That's a little bit different in the Prime cartoon as opposed to the show I'm basing it off of. of, because in the cartoon, in the Prime cartoon, it had more. It looks more like a hammer, like it was more like it was a gold, big gold hammer. But this one has a bit more of a streamlined sort of design, a little more smaller. Yeah, actually, Ultra Magnus actually used the hammer for a little bit in the cartoon before he got destroyed by Predaking. That was pretty cool. Because with Ultra Magnus, you have to give a hammer at some point. I feel like Transformers animated really just made that his whole character or his whole his signature weapon is like, you have Ultra Magnus, you gotta give him a hammer. Yeah. So even when I drew Ultra Magnus in his G1 form, I still gave him a hammer because just cool. It's like, with a name like Ultra Magnus, that name just oozes power. Ultra Magnus. So he needs a powerful weapon that he can hold and smash Decepticons with. That the show was trying to do. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, if they were to do someone other than Peter Cullen play Optimus Prime, like, why not bring back like Gary Chalk? Like Gary Chalk was a great Prime, like for his time. I don't know why they don't just bring him in. Or David Kay, who voiced him in the animated cartoon. I think he did a great job. Like, I don't think David Kay gets enough credit for his role, his portrayal as Optimus Prime. Even though he was a younger Prime, he still had the qualities of the original G1 Prime that made him still iconic to the role and all that. And I feel like he did it in his own way. It's because there's obviously a younger version of his character, so it obviously going to have a different style of voice there. But I feel like he still had that sort of he still had kind of a commanding sort of presence with his voice, regardless of that. Even though I retroactively feel he should have a hammer. Yep. Yeah. That's what I mean when there's sometimes where there is where it's like, give or take, it's sort of with the franchise. It's like sometimes the new stuff does have really good ideas, characters. Also, really bad ideas when it comes to like the Michael Bay stuff. So, hi, Mrs. Good to see you. Work for a Monday show. Nice. Yeah, we're doing some Transformers, and we're doing a female Transformer because it's International Women's Day yesterday. Almost forgot about it. I was away from Twitter all day. It felt great. It was great to be away from Twitter. I've done deleting Twitter or anything like that back in the day, but I'm just like, I kind of started to take a little more breaks from that thing. It's like, I just don't want to. But there's more important things to do in life than what people are tweeting. It's like so much dumb shit on there. It's kind of like, it's a pretty good position to put the hand in. I'll just do basic sort of sketch of the hands there. His hands are a pain in the ass to draw. Get rid of that thumb. It looks bad. Okay. All right. Trying to figure out the line work for the arms here. Should be Peter Cullen. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that if you have them, use them. As long as they're still capable of doing so, obviously, if they're wanting to do it still. Because I don't understand, right? It's kind of been a debate among like Transformers fans for years now. I think where it's like, should we just retire Peter Cullen or Frank? And it's just like, well, I mean, to me, that should be up to them. I think, it should be really their choice, and I respect that. If like Peter Cullen and Frank Welker just decide they, we just want to retire these characters from voice acting in general. We're getting old, and so it's like, we want to spend the rest of our lives with our family. I respect that, obviously, honestly. But if they still want to, and they're still capable of doing so, and not being coerced in any way, like the way Marvel kind of coerced Stan Lee at the end of his life, because I think that's what people are kind of worried about, is that it'll just be another Stan Lee incident where they kind of just kind of hound Stan Lee for years when he should have been like with his family and all that, his last moments and all that. Like, yeah, Marvel, Marvel and Disney like treat him like shit in his last years, but I don't think that would be the case with Peter Cullen and Frank Walker, though, because they seem to be wanting to get rid of them anyways. Like they're using them less and less now. They only really bring them out for like the movies, and maybe I think they're coming out. I think they're going to be in the game coming out, the Reactivate game. But it seems like they're trying to, as they should. Obviously, they should be looking for new talent. To kind of take over the roles. But I think that while we have them, we should still use them if they're still capable and still wanting to do the voices and still. I do kind of see I see it very disrespectful to kind of like try to force them out, which is what a lot of fans, some of the fans were trying to advocate for a lot more a little while ago. Not so much anymore. I don't really see it as much now, but there was a time where they kind of were being a bit more forceful in the way they kind of wanted that change to happen as soon as possible. It's just like, just let it happen gradually. Let it happen naturally. Like, don't try to force people out of a position or something. It's like it should be Peter Cullen and Frank Walker's decision whether or not they want to stay on for those roles or not. Not some people who just think they know everything. They are willing, but they have a price that should be paid. They are. They definitely are worth every penny. They really are. No retirement. Well, they need to AI their voices so they. I don't want to hear anybody else doing prime. It's like, no, you can do. No, I don't really agree with that. I think you can still bring a new talent to kind of voice those characters. There have been really good voices for Prime and Megatron over the years. At least, I just don't really like the idea of just relying on AI in general. It's just like I'd rather someone play out this Prime with a soul than a soulless computer, imitating Peter Cullen and all that. But that's just me. But I mean, if they do kind of consent to using their voice after, then maybe that's one. I think that'd be one thing. But I'm sure they wouldn't mind, because they're gonna be dead, so why would they care? But it feels wrong to me. I think they would want new talent to take over those roles for them. Otherwise, their voices need to be preserved. No one else can sound like that. They do. They need to preserve them in AI so they can still voices. There's no point in bringing in a new voice. Hey, Masters. As long the same for Kevin Conroy's. I don't like any Batman voice in live action or animation. Kevin's, yeah. Well, I can respect that. I understand where you're coming from there. All right. All right, this pen's fucking dying on me. Shouldn't be dying on me because it's like a new pen. Natter actually becomes the character so that to that level, it's the only respect pen to do. I guess I feel like they would I just think that if they were to pass, they would probably want someone who actually had talent to take over those roles. But I don't know. I think I just don't like the idea of us going that far with the AI. Because otherwise, because that's when we start to lose the human connection. And that was what made Peter Collins' voice so great. It wasn't just the fact that it was a deep voice or that it was just this iconic voice. It was the reason why that voice was so iconic and so well loved is because it came from Peter Collins' soul. And as long as an actor brings their soul into that role about this prime, they can do anything. David Kaye had a lot of soul when he played Optimus Prime, even though it wasn't the same, or even if it's not even as good as Peter Collins' voice, it was still good, and it was still. I think he still did a good job with what he had, what he was going for, and same thing with like Gary Chalk as well, and as well as some of the actors for like Megatron have always, because Megatron's had pretty good voice actors over the years, other than just Frank Welker, but. Like I say that Corey Burton doesn't get enough love from his Transformers animated role. They did a really good job in that show of kind of having the same sort of gravitas as Frank Welker's Megatron, but also having a new sort of approach to it that also sounded really cool and badass and all that. So. The character, sure, but I mean, when you can't separate the character from the voice, someone would still make the inflections, but not the person. Yeah. All right, let's get emails. And then for the eye, we have a little line work. That's going to kind of continue down to her chin line. And there should be. Yeah. Eye. Those guys did good jobs, but none of them are Peter Cullen or Frank. But not hear any. Right, they should be those voices for all time. Yeah, I get that. Well, I think that Kendrick Lamar would want them to be doing their own things with the roles, and but that's just me. I think that there's a point where it's like, we don't need to go too far with AI. There's enough good talent out there. I think that there's always someone who could play that role. Obviously not as good, but good enough. I think that's important. As long as they put in the heart and soul into it, I think it's what counts in the end the most. Um, that's the most important thing about Optimus Prime's character and all that. So Stolas kind of has like a little bit of a hair, like not really hair, but it kind of has like little. It's hard to explain because I think in her original design she has a little bit of like a hair design, at least for the Align continuity design of her. But I'm going for the Primors, so it's a little more solid. No, that talent doesn't look like them. What those guys did with those characters earns them that elevation. Ain't nobody gonna ever do that again. Do it better. Yeah. All right. Let's just. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out the short pad there. Like, all right. Let's do this. All right. Try to find it a bit more. Okay. All right. I think I'm happy with that. It's fine. X that out there, and then we'll bring it up. Get the chest part going. It's almost like in the shape of a bra, honestly, the way it's gonna, or like most of the female trends, really kind of have a little bit of that sort of feminine sort of twist flair to them. As they should, because they're supposed to evoke that feminine sort of energy. In any case, I just push hard for things to stay the same as much as possible when they're as good. Go on, Walter. Yeah. I understand that, but I don't know. For me, I just think that, you know, I want soul with my characters. You know, I feel like even though if you do get a good program to kind of emulate the voices, I just don't know if you'll have the same sort of effect. You know, I don't think you'll have the same sort of feeling that you should be getting from Optimus Prime or Megatron. It wasn't just like the quality of his voice that made him Optimus Prime. It was, you know, it was where that voice truly came from. It came from honesty. It came from, you know, his soul. Like, you know, the inspiration that he got that voice from with his, you know, his brother. The whole story with his brother there. I think that's a really important lesson to kind of remember when, you know, picking out a voice for Prime, especially someone like what you don't need just someone. You can't just get someone who just does a good impression. It's not the key 100%. You know, you need to have someone who actually has the soul of the character in mind. You know, the way Peter Cullen has for over the years. Like, it's not so much just getting the right vocal tone or right, just that, even though that is important as well. I think it's equally more important to have that, to maintain the soul of the character more so than just in the sound of it. Because Peter Pan's voice, he's changed over the years. His voice has not remained 100% the same. From the original cartoon. It's even his voice has kind of changed over the years. Especially when it comes to the needs of the movies, because the movies he kind of goes for a more serious, more bit deeper voice, whereas when he does stuff like the Transformers Prime cartoon or the video games, he brings it back to a bit more of the G1 sort of route. With that voice, kind of brings it back down a bit. All right. Someone would still be voicing it with soul, but the voice the audience hears would be calm. No, that's not what I meant. Okay, yes. AI recorded the originals, but voice box new actors who would. Okay, I see what you're saying. Kind of have someone come in with the tone, come in with a voice, and then kind of have the AI kind of modified to make it sound like Peter Cullen. I guess that could be what they could try to do. Kind of like how they do the South Park voices. They kind of change the voices up. The Cartman doesn't sound like Cartman at all in real life. When Trey voices them, it's a bit more very, very different sound. Once it's all computerized and all that. So I think I understand what you're saying now. So I know there's some I know there are some AI programs out there that they do actually do the voices of Optimus Prime and Batman and all that. And it's as good as the programs can sound. I don't think it would sound nearly I'll take a David Cage Prime voice over that any day of the week, because to me I want the character to have soul. That's the most important part of his character when it comes to voicing and portraying that character. But yeah, I think I know what you mean. So she has kind of a. With modifications, sorry, I couldn't remember that at all. Well, but yeah, not programmed voices, but voice mods for. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But I mean, if they're actually good enough, I don't think you need a voice mod. Like David Cage never needed one. Gary Chalk never really needed one. They all did really good jobs with it, what they were going for. So, if anything, they should be bringing if they were going to do something even Gary Chalk kind of had a problem with the Netflix series, the voice acting in that show in general, and he kind of came out and said, yeah, and it's the voice acting was just very stiff and all that, and slow. I was nothing with the voice acting in the show. It's it took 5 freaking hours, just 5 minutes, just for two people to have a fucking conversation with each other. It's just it's Megatron must be stopped no matter the cost. It's no. It's Megatron must be stopped no matter the cost. And that's what it's supposed to. It's stop. Move. It's don't waste my time. It's the characters are supposed to be fast paced. They're supposed to be action heroes and stuff. They're supposed to be. It's it's so boring. It's listening to someone say. It's fucking spit it out. It's yeah. Well, that's what the Prime cartoon and the animated cartoon had down pat was really good voice acting. All the characters sounded different. They all had different. They were also really good talent. They got people like Tony Todd for Transformers Prime. They got they got Sumali Montano, Ken Michael Richardson. Really, really Clancy Brown in that show. Not just Peter Cullen and Frank Welker in that show, obviously, but it's they had Ernie Hudson was in that show. With voice acting is pre-recording 50 different people separately. I hate that. It should be ensemble. Yeah. I like it when Those are my favorite like things to see at conventions where you actually see like actors kind of doing a script reading and stuff like that. I saw one for like Teen Titans once with all the cast members. It's really like just like fun, and like the Justice League one they did. Other ones, and they did. I think they did a script reading for like season 4 of Transformers anime, like what could have been as well. Like it was so, and that was like really cool seeing like Corey Burton back for doing the Megatron voice and stuff like that. Because like he hasn't voiced Megatron since the animated cartoon. I was like, bring back Corey Burton. If you can't get Frank Welker, get Corey Burton to be Megatron. Yeah, but I love like this watching this. They went for Transformers Prime as well at one of the conventions as well, so that was really cool too. There's always a lot of fun seeing the script readings of all the cast members together. All right. So as you'll see, as I'm kind of drawing, I'll kind of talk about what I'm drawing. So the way I kind of draw in ink is I kind of do it both at the same time. So once I have like a certain part of the character finalized or kind of in my mind, I'm ready to go. Like for example, the face, the chest, and all that. I'll start inking, and then I'll kind of pull back, bring back the pencils for certain areas need to be taken care of in a certain way. I'll do that. So this kind of comes down here. So I kind of pencil ink at the same time. Go that way. I don't mind the roster if I was Prime. I did think that certain characters would have been better in place. Like I feel like Smokescreen in particular could have been Hot Rod because of the storyline he was given that show. I feel like that would have been a really good story for Hot Rod, like the way he, because he had some of the similar, very very similar sort of character traits to Hot Rod in that show. Okay. Because they're both like very ambitious young warriors and all that, and so I think that it could have been a really good humbling story when obviously because when Optimus kind of was presenting the Matrix to Hot Rod or to Smokescreen to take over, he refused and decided to save Optimus instead of like taking the Matrix for himself. I think that would have been a really good way to kind of redeem almost Hot Rod in the eyes of the fans. I think that like imagine if that was Hot Rod instead of like Smokescreen like giving out the Matrix to save Optimus. Like that would have been a really cool moment. I feel like, and would really good way to kind of redeem him in the eyes of the fans. Because I'm not saying it's like a massive. I don't think it's really nearly as bad as it used to be. Obviously, the hatred for Hot Rod. I certainly don't hate him at all. I think that the idea of the character is cool, like the idea of there being a new Prime. I just think that the way they go about it is kind of wrong. Like maybe, like I kind of see the way, like kind of like as like the Batman Beyond of the Transformers. That's kind of how I see kind of Hot Rod. I just think that they could have done that story a little differently in the cartoon, but. All right. Everyone wants to be different than the original. I love the design for that bike, but that ain't RC. Yeah, like I think that And if they made that Chromia, I think that'd be more fitting for a character because Chromia had a bit more of a tough sort of streak. Whereas RC was a bit more feminine, a bit more a bit more motherly. Which I mean, she does have a motherly quality in the show with the relationship she has with Jack. But yeah, I do think that they could have. I think that maybe it would have been better for her to be Chromia instead. By neither she should have been new female transformer, but yeah, maybe. I don't mind Prime's design in that show. I liked it. It was fine. Okay, let's see. All right, I'll kind of do a little brace around the leg there. Yeah, the leg is definitely very like the design here is very, very similar to like Alpha Trion, the way its kind of legs were designed. I mean, it's kind of cool. We don't do that. We don't do more of these kind of things. We don't do more characters that kind of like inspired by the. Yeah. Messed that up. I might have messed that up. Hold up. Yeah, draw the thigh out better. That should be fine. We'll deal with it. Love most of the designs on that show, but I am very touchy about Prime. Yeah. Actually, I like this I like this design in the flashback on Cybertron. I like that design when they showed that design, what Prime looked like in that show on Cybertron. I thought he had a really cool design there, but I didn't mind. But I don't mind his traditional his main design in the show. But yeah, I would have preferred a more G1 look, but yeah, it looked good enough. Good enough for me. One design for Ranta's too much. Yeah, I get that. It's a little bit. It is very much inspired by the Michael Bay. It's kind of like Michael Bay and G1 kind of rolled together. I feel like. All right. Okay. And then I'll do a little line right here. Add a little more detail. We'll do that once we have the full figure sort of figured out here. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and erase some of the details we already got going. Just kind of clean her up a bit. And hey, Power, good to see you. Sorry I didn't see you. Good to see you, though. little focused right now, trying to get this guy going. I got 2 prime on this and 3 Megatrons from that show. I had one. I had one of each. I had the Voyagers for both the prime and the Megatron. Oh no, I had the smaller Megatron as well, the Legends class Megatron. Not such a really good big. I think that the Legends one was actually a lot better than the Voyager one. Surprisingly, I had better design, more cleaner design. My favorite prime figures are RC. Yeah, I had. Let's see. I had RC. I had Cliff Jumper. I had Starscream. I had Soundwave, and I had. Obviously, I had Prime Megatron, and I think that was it. Might have been it. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I got Bulkhead. No. Yeah, that might have been it. Well, I might try it if I ever get to a point in my collection. If I ever finished off my collection, or at least my G1 portion of the collection, maybe it might actually expand to like the War for Cybertron games, the Prime cartoon, or animated. But we'll see. Actually, a character I would really like to see brought in more often is a character from Transformers Animated. That was like what's his name? Was it Yugi-Tron or something? It was the guy who trained Prowl. He's kind of like the Yoda of the Transformers. I think that would be really. I think that was a really cool character to me. It's like kind of like the Mr. Miyagi of Transformers. There, it's like I would like to see more of that character pop up, like in a more G1 sort of style, Bit better on the smaller ones for that series. I don't have Cliff Jumper, never could find him. Oh yeah, they're expensive now. Yeah. All right, so we got the legs, and we got the torso and the head going, a little bit of the shoulder. So I think we'll start with this arm. That way, it'll make it easier to kind of map out this arm here because we'll have a bit more of understanding what the arm's supposed to look like on this side. And most of this arm's going to be covered up anyways by the staff as well as, or no, the forearm's going to cover up most of the that part of the arm. Can't remember what it's called. They're even more expensive now. Oh yeah. Yeah. I never liked that either. I mean, I think I like Black Ranger as a character in that show, but I don't think they should have gone and made it Alita 1. I think they could have just done a different character name because she was a great character in that show, just not really Lita 1, But let me see. Okay. Okay. Trying to see the arm. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out what kind of pose I want to put the hand in. And this should be kind of bending it down in this direction. A bit more. That's why hands. Something like that. could have just been Black Rat. Yeah, that too. I think that would have been better. Or just have her be like a regular Autobot, whatnot. That was mutated or something. Yeah, I get that. We'll kind of just do this. It's kind of like that. And oh, it's more triangular on the edges of the color here. No, it should be fine actually at that angle. Let's keep the way it is. All right, and then okay. Yeah. Fucking hands. It's fine. She could have been a Decepticon girl, perhaps someone could bring Nightshade back and keep her without a voice. Like Autobots. Yeah. Let's see, you like that. Fuck hands. Ain't just stupid. Work of the devil. Hate them all. If you have a hand, you're an asshole. Just kidding. Hate drawing hands. All right, well, I'll just leave a hand now. Figure it out later. When I piss myself off, I figured it out. Should need my circle. Get that joint in. I know exactly what you mean. I had every hand on this drawing I could possibly. Well, I can't hide it here because I'm having her holding up the key to Vector Sigma. Can't really hide it now. Can't hide from my destiny now. I fucked it up. Okay. No, let's do that. Teeter off on this side. Whatever. We'll fix it up later. Do it in post, as they say in the Hollywoods. I'm gonna draw 6 hands in here. Terrible wall. Yeah. All right, so I think I should draw the hammer first. Oh, fuck. I'm going to fall down like an asshole. Fucking throw your ass. Yeah. Let's figure out where this fucker's going. You know what? Should probably be in. No. Okay. 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 Let's go with that. So go through the body like that. Just black it out. Okay. I'll just wipe that out because I think it's supposed to, yeah, it's supposed to be like a kind of like sand blue for staff. So we'll just wipe that out. So just like that. Just indicate where things need to be whited out and getting rid of. All right. Now we draw the arm. This looks big. Match up with this other arm here. Then we'll have the arm teetering off a little bit there. Boom. And then, okay. I was up my erasers. Use the other side. There we go. Much cleaner. Okay, that's good. So I can draw closed hands perfectly fine. It's outstretched hands that are a pain in the ass for me. Oh, too big though, this one. And then, okay. Where does that go? Okay. Why do you have to have such complicated design? Not complicated, just involved. All right, that should work fine. All right, now we can figure this out. It's on my paper. Why is it bending? Hold on. I'll just tape that down so it doesn't bother me. There we are. That ruler so much. Yeah, I have a. Well, I bought two because I kept losing it. This guy for some fucking reason. And so I bought another one because I couldn't find it. But then a couple days later, I found the fucking guy, and so I was like, oh, well, why do I have two of these guys? So I was like, you know what? It could be really useful to have like one, like a smaller one with you. That way you can kind of, for like smaller drawings like this in particular. So I was like, oh, let's just break one in half. So now I have two of these. I have another one hanging around somewhere. Yeah, so I have two of these little smaller ones that I kind of made just by breaking one off. What the fuck are you doing for? Yeah, take it all the way to the end of the earth. I'll grab the other side. Oh, what the fuck are you doing? Or the mission. Flatten it. There we go. Much better. That too, but because I wanted the bigger size for 14. Yeah. Yeah, I used to always lose that fucker. Now I just keep it in my fucking drawer from now on. Don't lose it anymore. I can probably get the shoulder pad going now. Oops, we're on the side. I want that. All right, let's go like this. And that'll kind of just go right behind the hand there. Too far. That's A-okay. And the little bit here. Luckily, these are just the rough pencils here, so I'm not really too worried about it being perfect. I'll give it the same sort of neckline. There. Yeah, okay. attach the rest of the body. Oh, and I guess the arm should be about there. Cool. And draw a little indication of the arm socket there. And we'll get the digits in quick. Nope, I made the hand too big. It's okay. We'll fix it. 1, 2, 3. Should be fine. Oh well. It's just rough pencil and ink, so it doesn't really matter if it looks off or not. So we can always fix that later. Yeah, fix that later. Oh well. Got the basic shape and the position right, so that's all that matters right now. Fix it later. All right, our image of the hammer. Okay. We have a whole lot of good images of her, do they? All right, well, we kind of just roll with it then. No, they're not. This is the Unexplored Transformers. Yeah. Most of the pads and supplies. Yeah, they really should. It'd be like kind of like the, because it's kind of like the Old Republic era of for Star Wars. You kind of like with Star Wars, a little bit. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Why wouldn't they explore that element of the franchise? It's been because it's very, very, because the primes and all that original 13 primes, that whole era is kind of shrouded in like mystery a lot of times. Maybe that's kind of the benefit of writing them. It's kind of, which I think that might just be the, because I think that some things are better left to the imagination. But I think there's something that can be, some story to be told with the original 13 primes. Like go deeper into that story a bit more, or rather showcase that a bit more in different media. We don't really get to see it much. All right. And a little circle. Put it right in the middle there. I'll use these shapes here. No, too small. Too small. That's okay. All right. Okay. Let's do that. You know what? Let me get rid of this. Well, thing that's hanging off. It looks weird. Yeah, that would be really cool that you did. We are actually going to go that route with the new line coming out. So supposedly, because that'd be for a really cool display. Actually, if I was to do like a little diorama for them, something different, But I hope you guys have been enjoying the game stuff I've been doing. Might do more of that because I've been reposting the South Park game clips on my streams from Twitch over on here. So that second stream's like blowing up on YouTube for some reason. It was the one where I go and what was the second stream I did with the abortion clinic stuff? Randy and all that. Yeah, I'm having a blast with that South Park game. I might actually play the second game at some point too, because the new game's coming out this month. So, which I'm kind of it's not really I have a kind of mixed feelings on it. On one hand, it's kind of cool that you actually get to play online with people, but on the other hand, I kind of like the graphics of the first two games a little more, because I like it. Because one thing I loved about the first two games, anyways, that it actually felt like you're actually in the cartoon itself, like playing it, like it's like you're playing an episode of that game. But now they're kind of going for the more 3D animated style because they want to do the whole multiplayer aspect of the game, which it might be really fun, might be cool to play with friends. But I think that the games the games had really the charm of the games that they felt like the show. I think is what made it more fun. But we'll see. It might be fun to play with friends. So. All right. So there's a little bump at the bottom of her staff here. So I'm trying to draw that out. So for that. Kind of we'll come back in with the white out to kind of fix up, get rid of some of the line work. Start. Wings kind of go off the edge there. Do some erasing later up. Some other little details going. One extra finger to her. There's that. And the final colors is that's how we roll. We'll draw the key real quick as well. Just grab the key real quick. Just a little circle in the middle here. Square. The design cubes into here. There we go. I would if Twitch didn't hate me though. Yeah. Well, I have my I have the streams reposted on my YouTube, so if you want to watch me wreak havoc into the world of South Park, it's right there for you. Like any game that gives you a fart button is a 10 out of 10 for me. So it's just stupidest, but funniest thing ever. Will actually turn your farts into a superpower. Fucking amazing. It's our good one. See your game streams before I enjoyed them. Need to make this. They can make it so people, so I can get money for. Yeah, I get that. I'll add little lines into the staff here. Just add a little bit extra detail. Real quick, I want to go ahead and use my wet out to areas, and then we'll kind of add our bigger black areas, so to speak. Define our shadows a bit more. And then hopefully there won't be too many here to do, but we'll see. It is important to get your shadows right. What's this guy doing? There we go. All right, just gotta clean up the leg or the staff here in this case. Clean up the fins. And get rid of that. Get rid of that. Should be good there. Now let's just clean up the hands. They look ugly here. That's fine. While it's drying, we'll kind of start to get the hand here figured out if we can. Let's see. Like that. So I know where the hand sort of starts. Make my life easier here. Okay, so I'm gonna be on this side, so we won't really see it too much. Let's do very simple shapes here. Yeah, I'll do that later. Is it true ScarJo is going to be? Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think ScarJo has playing Alita 1, and I think that Chris Hemsworth is actually playing Optimus Prime, or I think he's going to be. I think I heard that he's going to be playing the Orion Pax portion of that, and then they're going to bring in Peter Cullen later on to play Prime. But yeah, I don't really mind ScarJo's Alita 1 though. That doesn't really bother me as much. Because it is going to be a younger version of those characters anyway, so I'm okay with that. Not really sure if I really like Chris Hemsworth as Orion Pax though, or Optimus Prime for that. I mean, he might have a good deep voice for Prime, but well, I mean, it's going to be Peter Cullen, so I think that's what they said. At least that's what I heard. I heard it's going to be Peter Cullen for the Optimus Prime portion of that role, because obviously it's going to be an origin story, which they're doing some weird changes for the story. I think they're not going full on like aligned or full on G1 with the origins. They're kind of doing their own thing with it. It seems like so. What that entails, I have no idea anymore. just some of the storage decisions I'm not really very keen on at the moment. So probably not going to see this one either. One, two, three, four. Okay. All right. And yeah, it's stupid looking. Oh well. We'll fix that later in the final version. Try to cover up the mishaps here as much as I can. Luckily, these are just the rough inks, so I can just go back and I do the colored version. The inks will be a bit more refined on the hands and stuff like that. So. Yeah, looking like some more sausage fingers here. That's okay though. You got the shape and the pose right. That's all that matters right here. I need this thumb here. See what will I see that in this angle? All right. Okay. Well, let's get some shadow. Let's kind of here real quick. Want to kind of define the lines a bit more, or make them bolder rather, I should say. As well as get some of the shadows in. That way she pops out a bit more. Just be careful not to get into any stuff there. Get the stuff before I fuck it up. Right. It would actually be good for Inspector Prime, not so much. Yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool if they actually brought back David Kay to do the voice for like Orion Pax, and then have Peter Cullen come in for Prime. I think that'd be kind of a cool thing to do. You kind of honor both actors in that way. Because David Kay did a really good job portraying like a really young, like a much younger version of like Peter Cullen. Not a version of Peter Cullen, but like about this Prime in general. I feel like he did a really good job with that. We'll see. Maybe he'll do a good job with Orion Pax. Though I probably won't be seeing the film anyways, because the more I'm hearing about it, the more I'm less likely to go see it. She almost looks like a little bit like Maleficent, a little bit, with her the way her helmet is kind of designed here. Just kind of noticing that now. Oh, you know what? She has a little bit cape sort of thing, kind of like of a Tryon in the back of her. Yeah, I gotta do that. Oh well. Got in just a minute. It's better to get the foreground parts done anyways before we move on to the background elements of her design here. So yeah, she just has like a little bit of like a kind of like that flat sort of cape. Agree with that. Get them both. They do have different voices as they are. Kind of different. More just difference in terms of voice, like because he was very much the same person when he was Peter Optimus Prime versus Orion Pax, you know. That would be really cool if they actually did that, like at one of the shows, if they brought in both Peter and David Cave voiced the character in different ways. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't actually get to play. I mean, it might have before, at some point, but I think David Kay, after hearing him in Optimus Prime in that series, he'd probably make a good Captain America too, like or something like that. I could definitely see that. Like, because he mostly gets like villain roles like with Megatron and all that, but like he could do. There's a lot of like heroes that you could probably play as well. Any voice Captain Arist? Maybe I can't. Maybe he might have. I can't remember if David Cave voiced him in that series or not. I know Roger Craig Smith, I think, might have voiced Captain America at one point, but yeah, a little bit of Maleficent. Not sure I'm liking the shape of the head there, at the top there. Might actually bring that down a bit. Hold on. You just lower it just a little bit. Let it dry though. While it's dry, I'm just gonna clean up this area. All right. Just work on the background while we're waiting for that to dry, and then we'll go from there. Here, just finish this side here. Okay, he is still voicing Captain America. Gotcha. Yeah. He might have. Actually, he might have. David Kay might have voiced Captain America in that. Or I just can't remember. But it would be damn shame if he didn't voice Captain America in a show, because he has a really good voice for like heroes and stuff like that. Not just villains like Megatron or what have you. I think he also voiced Lugnut in the animated cartoon as well. Let's off with this guy. You're brand new. Should be dime. Hold on. Right. Almost there. Just got to fix the head, and then a few extra little details with the highlighter. And then I think it's all the wrap. A little energy kind of coming off of the hammer. Okay. So quickly grab some shadows here, and then I think we'll call it a wrap. Got some shadow there, shadow there. Yeah, he played Batman in the Arkham Origins game. Some of the other cartoons he did. Which he did a good job. I think he did a good job with Batman. Playing a younger, more, inexperienced Batman in that game. Try to use the purple to kind of, or black to kind of identify the purple areas as opposed to like the light gray and yellow spots on there. That's supposed to be purple there. And parts of the cloak. Not cloak, but oh right, her little cape. Almost forgot. Kind of like Alpha Trion's cape a little bit, where it's kind of like a very flat sort of shape to it. So very much, very similar design to like design keys for Alpha Trion there. Was a good as good as the whole DC. Yeah, it really was. That was a really good show. The original or the that whole series was really good. So yeah. Hopefully they never touch it though, because yeah, the way X-Men 97 is shaping up, I'm just like, you know, don't touch anything, please. It's like I don't want anything touched anymore. It's like I'd much rather remember these franchises and these characters and these shows and all that fondly, you know. So it's like, you know what? Sometimes just better for something to end rather than continue as in a shell of the former what it could be, you know. There we go. That's when they did the Black Panther and another bunch of stuff. There's an improvement, but nowhere near Earthman's Heroes. Yeah. You know, more than the Fox Kids Avengers show. It's so boring. Yeah. Very so even its fan base agrees that season 3 was the best out of that show. Yeah. I never watched Avengers Assemble. I just heard it was bad, so I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch that. So All right, does it for Solus here, the grandmother of all Transformers. Got a few areas I want to tidy up later on, but I think I'll show like this area. Be all blacked out because it's the cape. It'll be all coming up there, but yeah, we're almost ready to go here. Got a good outline for this one, so what? Oh, I almost forgot this guy. There we go. That weird little thing there. Yeah. Hey, Lady V. Good to see you. Sorry, it's we're kind of wrapping up here pretty soon. Oh, and see you, Mrs. Have a good night. Have a good day. Night, whatever you are doing. All right. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for the compliment, Lady V. Yeah, this is just the rough pencil and inks that we got done today. Once I get around to it, obviously I'll blow this up onto a 9x12 Bristol paper, and from there I can kind of go back in and tidy up the inks a bit more, fix up the hands, obviously, because the hands are my kryptonite, and just overall just tidy it up. This is kind of meant to get the basic sort of shapes and whatnot kind of going, and give me a better idea of what to do, what to improve on when I do the final version, but knowing me, it'll probably be a whole year from now before I color this guy, because I have a whole bunch of things I gotta do, a bunch of things to color and draw. So, but this one I definitely want to get done. So I haven't done a lot of Transformers drawings in a little while, so I think that's what we need to start doing more of here. Yeah, that's about it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and before I end it off, just gonna say hi to everybody who showed up. So Grumpy, Lady V, Mrs. Dadman, and obviously Dadman and Power, and just make sure I didn't miss anybody who dropped in before we close it off today. And that's everybody. Yep. All right. So on that note, don't really know what I'll be doing for next week's stream, weekend stream. You'll do that pencil inks, but I want to do. I think it's time to go back to sport coloring. So I think I guess I'll find something in the sketchbook to color and go from there. So, but yeah, that's Solus Prime, and that's my. I didn't get. Yeah, I was trying to download a clip actually earlier today, but it wouldn't work. That's why I kind of stream. That's why I kind of had to stream a little bit later on, or I kind of posted the stream for like 12:15 instead of 12 o'clock. So I was trying to get one down a bit. Apparently, it wouldn't work for some reason. So stream on, get your shit together. But on that note, I will see you guys later.
The Transformers will return after these messages.